But I was just saying, is the Alaska delegation honoring their constituents on that, or are they basically working for the lobbyists, working for the big oil, working for the big mining companies, who are down there, petitioning them in D.C. and then they're flying up for a photo op, talking about Iditarod. It's very superficial because we know, Joe Reddington Sr. and the Iditarod Trail, it was about preserving, using the dogs to live and to honor that lifestyle of a subsistence lifestyle out there in the bush, the villages, and a history and the tradition of using the dogs for the trap line, using the dogs for transportation to deliver, that vaccine during that epidemic, decades ago in Alaska, and to be able to save those people who were vulnerable to that pandemic that they had back then. So the dogs were an instrumental part of living off of the land, and when we live off the land, for historically and traditionally, it's all about having that wilderness, having that resource of the hunting and the fishing to be able to do it. So if we have, a big oil development or a big mining development project that is basically destroying or eroding that wilderness, that aspect of the biodiversity that we see and that we should cherish and uphold in Alaska, because, look at the rest of the lower 48, look at the rest of the world, all over the place. There are very few places, like we've said, there's a huge, tremendous conservation legacy in the United States of America going back to Teddy Roosevelt. And, I feel like I should, get a copy of the Teddy Roosevelt biography and send it to Senator Sullivan, Senator McKeskey, as well as Mary Peltola, and let them brush up on their history, because I'm not really sure that they're filling the shoes of the the pioneers in terms of the people who have built the foundation for these national parks in terms of that conservation legacy and the national wildlife refuges, for our country. How special, unique, and we want to keep that stuff, that biodiversity. We want to keep that wilderness. We want to keep those resources and look at those as more valuable than a mine. You know what I mean? Those more valuable than a road through a national park when we're looking for the future generations and what we want to instill in them in terms of the values. Because like I said before, 20, 30 years down the line, if we desperately need to make an Ambler mine or do a willow project, those things will still be there if we wait. If we're patient now, we can innovate. We can use the technology to innovate and be more